Welcome to the Pre Nup, the wedding-obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who are sharing their best tips, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. The Pre Nup is a Love Stories TV podcast. This episode is brought to you by Lovebird, a better way for engaged couples to communicate with their wedding guests. Make an exquisite first impression and manage every touch point in one place. Share your proposal story on lovebird.com for a chance to win a free honeymoon. Learn more at lovebird.com/prenup. We are welcoming back one of my favorite guests. The last time she was here, she was Ms. Stephanie Leigh, NYC, but now she is Mrs. Stephanie Leigh, NYC, and she is sharing all of her fabulous French wedding details with us today. If you're considering a destination wedding or you're looking for some really chic and stylish bridal insight, this is the episode for you. Stephanie, welcome back to the Prenup.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Love
coming
the whole
back.
new setup. This is so nice.
Thank you. I know you're our first repeat guest to be in studio.
I
so
love
it's
that.
yeah.
I'm honored.
I'm honored to have you. So the last time we spoke, we were in the thick of wedding planning. It was
Yes.
before your wedding.
Okay, yes.
And when was your wedding?
June 28th.
Oh my gosh. And we're going to get into everything. It was so fabulous. But
Thank you.
where we left off was right before your bachelorette, I believe.
Okay. Wow, that was a long time ago.
I know.
Time flies.
I know, it really does. So I want to start there. Just pick up for anyone who listened to the episode. You'll remember, but if you didn't, I'll leave it in the show notes so you can just kind of pick up here. But so we did bachelorette in Florida, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
And a lot of my bridesmaids still live down there. And since I was doing destination wedding, I was like, I'll come to you for the bachelorette. So we did Fort Lauderdale and Miami, kind of like a mix of the two.
Fun.
And it was so fun.
Ugh.
It was like the perfect combination of like relaxing, partying, like the perfect combo.
Yes. Give us a little mini itinerary. We don't need every detail, but like
Yeah.
the highlights.
Sure. So it was Thursday to Sunday. Thursday, we just did like a casual dinner and just like hung out at the Airbnb. Friday, we did dinner in Miami. That was like our big going out night. And then
Okay.
we went to like a club after. Saturday was the boat day.
Ugh, always the best day.
Yeah, I feel like you need a boat day on a bachelorette. I don't know why. Maybe-
1000%.
Yeah,
You do.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like fun for the photos and just the vibes.
It's
and-
essential.
Yeah. And then Saturday night we were tired, so we did hibachi at the house, which was so fun, like matching pajamas, like cute, cozy.
So cute.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
awesome.
The perfect combo. And then Sunday we just like did breakfast and then everyone went home. So it was like the perfect amount of time.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to overstay the bachelorette. Sometimes it
Agreed.
can be, it's different groups of people. It's a lot. It can be
Yes.
overwhelming.
I completely agree. And I even kept it a very small group.
Yeah. How
So
many girls
that-
did you have?
It was me and 6,
Okay,
I think.
that's
so I think
perfect.
7, yeah. And it was like, because all my bridesmaids are from Florida, so they all know each other already.
That's great.
And then my sister, who obviously got to know the girls so well.
Yes.
And yeah, it was the perfect combo.
Oh, so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had bachelorette, and then how far in between bachelorette was wedding? When was bachelorette?
Bachelorette was end of February.
Okay.
To break up the cold and to give people enough time to like save for the wedding. I didn't want it like back to back.
So smart. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was a destination wedding for all. I
Yes.
imagine none of the guests were French.
No.
Okay. So
Not a one.
which it's so fun for everybody. Like
Yeah.
a destination wedding, it's such a great excuse for your guests to take this trip and for everyone
sure.
to be together and plan this, but
For sure.
not without some stress along the way.
Of course. Yeah. I'm not one of those people who is like, oh, I miss wedding planning. To me, the second it was over, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah. What a relief. Like, get this
Yes.
off my back.
Yes.
And I totally get what you're saying because a lot of people are resentful when people are like, oh, I just want it to be over. But I get that. It's not that they want the wedding to be over. They want the wedding to be here. They want to
Yes.
celebrate.
Yes.
A lot of people hate the planning process. And
I
hate's
do.
a strong word, but it can be really overwhelming and it takes over a big portion of your life.
For sure.
For you, what were some of the big stressors?
So I think because it was destination,
Mhm.
there was just a lot of differences in how they do weddings there.
Yes.
So that was just a stressor. Also, just the language barrier. There was just some points that were just not being understood. So it was just like that much more stressful in the terms of planning. And I will say, because it's international, you just had like 10 times more questions from your guests, which I understand, but it obviously is just more stress on you trying to make sure everyone's itinerary is good and everything matches up and making sure everyone will get to the venue the right day and the right people who aren't staying at the venue. So there was a lot of moving parts for sure.
So because it's a destination wedding, you're talking about your guests. Did you feel any pressure to create any kind of itinerary or suggest activities for your guests?
Sure. So since we've been to Paris numerous times, we did want to give kind of an itinerary.
Yeah.
So on our website, we gave an itinerary for Paris because most people were either doing Paris before or after.
Okay.
Because the venue was like an hour and a half away.
Okay.
And then we did an itinerary for the town closest to where the venue was, which was like a 30-minute drive. So we like kind of mapped out like things to do, restaurants to do, bars to see, things like that.
And that was probably more fun for you guys because you had been there and like you enjoy it. And I think people do appreciate it. But yeah, there is this layer of like, okay, everyone's coming all this way. Like we need to make sure that they're cared for. In reality, like they're coming all this way. They're gonna figure out what they're gonna do.
For sure.
But it is nice to give people some options. Did you have any boundaries as to how people could or should contact you prior to the wedding?
No, I put like most asked questions on my website.
Okay.
And people were pretty good about it. Like I feel like no one really asked us questions that weren't easy to answer.
Yeah.
But I understand if people are traveling, they're going to have questions. So I would never be like, oh, go to the website. Like, I don't mind repeating myself 100 times. Like, it's fine.
For sure.
But people were pretty good about it using the website for stuff, which was nice.
Yes. Yeah. That's why it's there. That's the resource. Go there before asking.
For sure. And I think a lot of my family knew to ask, like my parents.
Okay.
Maybe they just didn't want to even bother me. I don't know. So I think it was nice, but I know like a lot of people did reach out to my dad and my mom. So
sure.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned not only language barrier, but also just culturally, weddings are a little bit different.
Yes.
The last time we spoke, we were talking about the hors d'oeuvres. So we're from the Northeast where it's like big cocktail hours, lots of food, especially in New Jersey, New York. Like we're used to a lot of food.
Yes.
But it's not really like that there, right?
No. And this was probably one of the major differences was the cocktail hour.
Okay.
So this was probably also the biggest issue that happened. And we didn't notice this until about halfway through cocktail hour. But in France, I don't know if this is all Europe, but France specifically, they don't do cocktails during cocktail hour. It's just beer, wine, and champagne.
Oh.
They only do it for the after party, so not even during dinner.
Oh.
And we didn't think to specify that we wanted cocktails at our cocktail hour because it's in the name.
For sure.
And I also had like specialty cocktails and I made sure they had like the ingredients and all that stuff. So when I was done taking photos and I went into cocktail hour and I asked for a cocktail, they were like, no, that's not till later. And I was like, wait, no, I know how many bottles of liquor we bought. Like, does she think this is only for the after party? So I went up to her and I explained and she was just like, this should have been discussed before. And I was like, I thought this was normal.
But that's one of those
things.
Fixed it. Okay.
It was just one of those things. Also just like, I think I said this last time with the past hors d'oeuvres. At first they were like, oh, we could do like 4 different options. And I'm like, we need like 12 different options. We need food stations. Like my family is from New York, New Jersey. They expect a big cocktail hour.
Yes.
So that was definitely very interesting.
Oh my gosh, that is really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. What did they do you know what they call cocktail hour? Do they have a different name for it? Yeah. I wonder what that is.
I know. She's like, you're the first person to ever request cocktails for your cocktail hour. I was like, oh.
It's quite literally in the name.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's literally called cocktail hour. And you saw how many bottles of liquor. We had so much left over the next day because it wasn't put out until halfway through. Luckily, I caught it because otherwise dinner would have gone by and there would have been no cocktails, only beer, wine, and champagne. Yeah. Because I guess they kind of like go into it slowly.
Yeah.
And then the after party, they just let loose. But that was a big, interesting misunderstanding.
I bet. Yeah. Okay. So, but we had the extra alcohol for, further events. So everything
it worked out.
for a
Yeah.
reason.
The next day we left. So
Okay.
we kind of gave them out as like extra souvenirs. We're like, hey, if you have a checked bag, here's 3 handles of tequila. So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to take us really from getting there through the whole wedding
Sure,
process.
yeah.
Because a lot of people want a destination wedding, but there's things that they don't think of, such as the cocktail hour. It's like these little
Yes.
things that never even cross your mind that are going to be an issue.
I know.
And I don't even want to call it an issue because I'm sure your wedding day was perfect and you would change
and no
nothing.
one noticed, they claimed.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I was so excited for like the French wine and the champagne. I didn't even notice.
Totally.
But we noticed.
Yeah. It's always, I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you arrive to France how early before your wedding?
So we actually broke up our honeymoon and we did half before and half after.
So smart.
Yeah, mainly because of like his work schedule and stuff. It just made sense to not like waste a weekend. So we left on a Friday.
Yes.
And then like did 2 weeks, whatever. So we were there for, I believe, 6 nights before. There was definitely pros and cons to that.
Okay.
Pros, we were in Saint-Tropez first and a lot of our friends were there. So we were partying like every night. And I'm
So
like,
fun.
I need to look good though. In
Yes.
3 days, like we need to stop
Yes.
drinking and like we need to relax.
Did you drink for that whole time?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, at least 2 days before, like I need a detox. I
For
need to
sure.
like hit the spa or something.
Yeah.
But it was so hard not to because we were so excited. All of our friends were there.
It's an
so
extension of the celebration too.
for sure. And it really was. But it was nice in the sense that we got on the time zone. We were there. So we were just like accustomed to like, I don't know, the time zone. And like when
Yeah.
people were texting us questions, we were already there and all that stuff. So
For sure.
there was pros and cons for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you do it the same way?
Yes. Because I almost felt like before it felt different than like the honeymoon after. It's like you were on vacation and you were so excited for it.
Yes.
And it was almost nice because at that point you were already there. You're not really going to stress about planning anymore. So you're more just like excited.
Yeah. What's
And
done is
then
done.
After is just more like relaxing and just like recapping on the whole wedding. So it was a different type of fun and exciting.
Yes. Oh, and it does put you in a different mindset because typically, especially people who do weddings maybe closer to home, that last week is such a stressful time.
Right.
But it kind of forces you. It's like, okay, we're literally leaving to go to another
Yeah.
country
Yeah.
at this point. Like everything that's done is already done.
Yes.
And you just
enjoy
love it. You enjoy it.
We made sure we told our planner, we were like, hey, we're leaving a week before, so we need everything done the week before. Like pretend our wedding date is like a week earlier because we do want to enjoy our trip before. We don't want to be like answering emails and all this stuff. So
That's actually such good advice for anyone. Like
Yeah.
pretend the wedding is a week before.
a week before.
Get it all done.
Yeah.
Get it finished. I think I've told this story before. I'm not sure if I told you, but we got married on Black Friday.
Okay.
And so obviously it was Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Wednesday was our rehearsal. Wednesday night after our rehearsal dinner, Jake and I got in the car to drive from New Jersey to Buffalo, New York,
Okay.
which is about a 7-hour drive because
Wow.
I lost my passport.
Oh.
And we had to get an emergency one. The only availability for an emergency passport in Philadelphia, which is my nearest city, was the day of my wedding. So, and it worked. And he was like, no, we're going on our honeymoon. And like, that's what we're doing. So, yeah, it was a stressful week and there was like still a lot that I had to do. And I had to spend an entire day going to Buffalo, waiting for my passport and like waiting around. So 10 out of 10, don't recommend.
That sounds like a
0
lot.
out of 10.
Like leading right up to it.
Yeah. So we had like very opposite experiences. You gave yourself like time and leeway and like, and another thing that I really love what you said about going to Saint-Tropez with your friends before
Yeah.
and celebrating. People will put these parameters on what they're allowed to do. Like I was like, oh, I'm not going to drink the day before my wedding. And a lot of people feel that way or, you know, I'm not going to eat this thing or like do this thing. And it's like, okay, well, aren't we here to celebrate? Like all your
Yeah.
friends are there in
Are
Saint-Tropez.
there.
What are you going to like sit around and be like, no, I'm holding out for the big day.
The big day. And
Yeah.
honestly, the big day, it's like you're so preoccupied. You're having fun, but you're not having as much fun as if the pressure is off, if that makes sense.
Right. And you are also like a very big lifestyle person. I love seeing like every facial that you get or treatment that you're always doing like something fun and giving us inspiration, and you live your life that way. So I think like 2-3 days of eating and drinking what you want is not going to really derail you or like make you look terrible for your wedding day. So if anyone's looking to enjoy, just like do it.
Yeah. That was the one thing though. It's like if you're gone a week before, you like can't really get your nails done for the place you usually go to. Like,
yeah. What did you do about that kind of stuff?
I did like the Russian manicure with the gel, so it lasted a really long time.
Yes.
But I wasn't able to get like a facial a few days before, like anything really that close leading up to it. But it's fine.
But in the Saint-Tropez sun and the water, like that's its own facial.
That's its own like relaxation. Yeah,
yes,
I agree.
Totally. I think you really did it the right way. And it's very interesting. No, I don't ever hear of anyone splitting it up that way. And I really like it. I think
I loved it. And I highly recommend. But everyone's different, you know?
For sure. What was your favorite part about the wedding?
About like the whole wedding day?
About the wedding day, about the planning, both, either.
Okay, well, I guess when I think back to my wedding day, like the ceremony that wasn't my favorite part, but that's like my favorite memory.
Yeah.
But my favorite part was the after party. We are very much like picky about the type of after party we wanted, and like we wanted to make sure it like stayed, like the momentum had to stay,
right?
Because I feel like as soon as you put people on like a shuttle or you like wait 30 minutes in between, like people get tired and go to sleep. So like we made it like a huge point to like make sure the after party was like fun and everyone stayed, and our friends delivered. Like we were dancing all night. We had so much fun.
It looked like so much fun. Okay, so we start with our like pre-honeymoon, then we get into a welcome party.
Yes.
Okay, so is everyone included in the welcome party?
So yes, but not everyone came. So basically everyone who stayed at the chateau was invited to welcome drinks. So we had drinks in a wine cellar, and then we had the dinner, which was like out front in front of the chateau. And then everybody was invited to dessert and drinks the first night.
Fun.
Yeah, because there was probably 30 people who stayed 30 minutes away. So they came for the dessert and the drinks afterwards.
Huge.
But the first two events were just for people staying in the chateau, just so we could connect with family and, you know.
Yeah, it's special. And that's a nice time to really, I don't like to say get things out of the way, but you're greeting people in that time. And, you know, it doesn't have to be this big, like, oh my gosh, greeting. And you have to talk to people for so long on the actual day.
You hit I don't know that saying, but yes, exactly. You're like, it almost took away like talking with family or talking with people who you're not really going to talk to that much on your wedding day. It kind of got it out of the way. So you don't feel like, oh, I didn't even speak to them on the wedding day.
Yes.
It was nice.
It's less of an obligation, if you will. And that's a huge benefit of having a destination wedding, because typically you are going to have lead up events to it.
For sure.
And I think if you are going to have a destination wedding, everyone is entitled to do whatever they want. But I think if you're going to do your due diligence, like people are coming out. So you do want to have more than one event for them.
Agreed. For sure.
Were you happy with the way everything turned out with like welcome party? And
for sure. Welcome party was amazing. And I did drink on the welcome night.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I know some people don't.
Listen, you wanted to enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
I respect it.
Like the wine tasting was like all the local wines. Like you had to try it.
Had to.
But I did enjoy myself. We were good about like going to sleep early that night, but we had a great time. Yeah. And then the next day we did a pool party and brunch.
So fun.
So that was good. And everyone was welcome to that. But the people who stayed far away, it was just like hard for them to come back and forth. So it was mainly the people in the chateau. But that was also really fun. And
that's really fun.
Yeah. I could only stay for a few hours because I had to go get ready.
Of course.
It was like the perfect start to the day.
So was that on the wedding day?
That was on the wedding day because the day after the wedding, we flew straight to our honeymoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what time did you skirt out to get ready?
11:45.
Okay.
Which is pretty late for a bride. Like I feel like some brides get ready at like 6 a.m.
What time was your ceremony?
5:30.
Okay. That seems fair. But I love, you're just like flipping everything on your head. So you did things very non-traditional. Like your husband is Kareem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I remembered that. I was like, I better get that right. But So you and Kareem like hung out that morning. You were at
He was in the
brunch
pool
together.
until like 4 p.m.
Was he really?
Yes. I didn't even know this. Everyone told me. I'm like, let him do his thing. It's fine.
Well, it takes them literally 3.5
minutes.
seconds to get ready. So they're
For
fine.
sure.
It's not fair, but like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
I want him to enjoy.
Of
And this way
course.
he was greeting all the guests and talking with everyone because I couldn't be there. So
Yeah.
it worked out.
But you did. You really threw the rules out, which is always what I encourage people to do. And
For sure.
I love it. Like, no one parties with everyone the day of, but that is such a good idea. It's like we're kicking things off early. We're getting it started.
The biggest compliment we got from our wedding is everyone was like, it just felt like a big party. Like, yeah, it felt like a wedding, but like you didn't do a lot of the wedding norms. It just felt like one huge party.
Yes. Because a
And
lot
that's
of
what
times,
we wanted.
and it looks like you got everything that you wanted. It really
For sure.
was so beautiful. And, we'll have everything linked. So if anyone doesn't follow, do that. But you got to see this wedding. It's just so absolutely stunning, gorgeous, perfect.
Thank you.
It really was. Recently engaged? Share your proposal story on lovebird.com, where engaged couples can manage every communication with their wedding guests with elegance, grace, and ease. Lovebird will select couples with the best proposal stories for the chance to win a free honeymoon. Bonus, featured couples will also unlock free access to lovebird.com, where they can create a premium wedding website, send elegant digital stationery, collect RSVPs, share day of announcements, and make an exquisite first impression for their wedding day. Terms and conditions apply. Lovebird, elegant wedding guest communication, simplified. Share your proposal story at lovebird.com/prenup. That's lovebird.com/prenup. We get into ceremony. Now, a lot of times in a typical wedding, there's like a build up to ceremony, but people are kind of waiting to get through it. But you already had this portion of the day where people were like partying. So it's almost something to look forward to now.
Yeah.
Getting things kicked off. And your ceremony, you said, was one of your best memories. Your dad did something so cute and special. I want you to talk about this. This is so nice.
For sure. So I almost wish he told me what was going to happen. So basically, me and him walked down the aisle, and he stopped like 5 or 6 feet before we got to like the officiant.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, hello. I'm like whispering to him. You hear it in one of the videos. I'm like, go. I'm like, what are you doing? And he keeps waving over to my father-in-law. And he said, he's your father too now. Like, so he wanted him to walk me the whole way down, but my father-in-law really wanted us to have that memory, which I thought was so nice. So he waited.
I have chills right now.
Yeah. So he waited till more of like the end, and then I walked with both of them, and that I just broke down. I was a mess.
That would make me sob. What a ham your dad is. Like, that's the sweetest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I could not imagine a man like doing, but that's so, that just speaks to the closeness of, I guess, your families, and like how important are your families close with each other?
Yes, they are. They really are.
That's really, really special. It's not, you marry a family. Don't forget it, people.
It's true. You really do. And it's so funny because if you know my dad, he's very much like tough love. It takes a while to get to know him.
Yeah.
So for him to do something like that, it was very special.
And you're a family of all daughters, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm one of 3 girls.
Okay. Are you, where do you fall in terms of marriage? Like,
so
who got
I'm
married
the
first?
youngest, but I'm the second to get married. So my eldest got married first, and then me, and then my middle sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, your dad's like, it's a heavy, like, emotional thing for a dad to give his daughter away. And I don't know, people have an idea about it now. And like, some people say it's antiquated. I happen to love it. I think I don't really see it as giving away, but it's more of like escorting you down the aisle.
And to me, that's a tradition. It's like, that's so special between me and him.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to take that away from him.
Yes.
You know, so.
And another thing that I love, because you kept tradition alive while also spinning things on its head, which to me, it's hard to do, but you did it so perfectly. Something that you did, I was so happy to see, was a cake cut. And so many people forgo it now. And I'm like, why? It's so special. I love the cake cut. But yours was, you had such a funny video about your cake cut.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So what happened with the cake?
So, okay, first off, we completely forgot. I didn't see the cake until like they brought it out for the cake cutting. I didn't even see a photo of it. I just told them what I wanted. I was like a 3-tier cake.
Yeah.
At this point, I was so done with wedding planning. I'm like, just make it look good. I don't care.
Yeah.
So it's like 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So like we're like in the middle of the after party and someone's like, oh, they brought out the cake. I was like, this wasn't like a planned thing. It was like a very last minute thing. And I'm like, oh, I completely even forgot about the cake.
Yes.
Which honestly was so fun to do it at the end half of the night because everyone was just that much more excited about it.
Yes.
So we went to like the pool area and started to cut it. So I guess this happened to my sister too. And she had a wedding in Italy. So I don't know if this is like a Europe thing or if they do it in the US too. But I guess because we had around like 78 people and I asked for like a 3-tier cake, they didn't want to waste the cake. So it was like this much cake and like this much wood
Yeah.
on each layer. And no one told me this. Once again, there was like zero communication. So, and I don't know why we started to cut from the bottom tier first. That doesn't really make sense. But for the photos, it just works. So
For sure.
we're trying to cut and it goes like in easily and then it just stops. So we're both like pushing down and then there was a candlestick that like completely fell over. We were both just like, we're going to light this place on fire. But yeah, we hit wood basically.
So it like a lot of times here they'll use styrofoam or something
Yeah.
like not only to fill the space but also for sturdiness. So sometimes it's like if it's a pound cake, it's really heavy and like
that's a good point.
People worry about it collapsing. So
Yeah.
it depends. Like not everyone does it, but it is more common than you would think. But the video was so cute and funny of you two. You're just like you can tell you're on cloud 9 and having a ball too.
Yeah.
And then like the candle almost gets knocked over and you're like, well, whatever.
Yeah, at that point we were just like living life, having the best time.
Yeah.
That's what I like almost about doing it later because it's not so like stuffy. It's not like the beginning of the night, like so forced. It was just at this point, everyone was hungry again. So everyone just wanted dessert. So we were just like passing out the cake. It was fun.
And I think a lot of times people don't want to do the cake cut because they feel like it's going to interfere with like the dancing or something of the night. And it is so fleeting. But when you do it the way you do, or you have like these multiple events and you're doing it later in the night, you're right. It's a welcome event. It's like, oh, now we're going to get cake.
Yeah,
like that's exciting.
For sure. And we didn't make it like a thing. Like people were still dancing. Some people were still sat because we didn't want to take away from the experience
Sure.
as well. So it was more people who wanted cake came and other people still danced and had fun.
Love it. Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we went through the welcome events. We went through ceremony. We did go through cocktail earlier because we had that cocktail
A
debacle.
little hiccup. It's okay.
So for reception, one of my favorite things that you had an electric violin. Was it an electric violin and a sax?
Yes.
Oh my God. Talk about getting the party started.
Oh, well, okay. It's actually really funny. So we go in and we sit down. I eat dinner very quickly. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go change into my second outfit.
Yeah.
It was probably like 20 minutes into the dinner. So like very early on. I come back. The whole party was already up dancing because of the music. Like, and the way my husband is, he's like, I felt like the room was getting flat because everyone was just like eating. He's like, I wanted it to, come alive. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's so early though. I'm like, I was like, we barely even finished dinner.
Yeah.
And everyone's jumping up and down. Everyone's up in the chairs already. They're going crazy with the violinist and the sax. And it was so much fun.
That looked like so much fun.
Yeah.
And they were very interactive.
They were amazing. Even when I did a change of look, the violinist had a normal dress on in the beginning. And then she came back with like a light up dress.
Stop it.
It was so fun.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
wait, that's so cool.
Well, speaking of the looks, I mean, you are, in my eyes and heart, like you are known for your fashion. I love your style.
you.
Everyone loves your style. You're like so chic, classic, timeless. I want to talk about the wedding looks.
Okay, yeah.
So we had outfit changes for sure.
We did.
So how did you go about curating? Like, I mean, you must have felt a little bit of the pressure or not really.
Yes, I did. And, towards the end half, I was like, you know what? I'm taking the pressure off.
Yeah.
I'm going to dress how I want to dress. And it needs to feel like me.
Well, and it's something that we talked about before. Like, you are extremely authentic. It comes through in your content.
Thank you. I really try.
And the first time I spoke with you, I was almost taken aback a little bit because I was like, she's so sweet and genuine. And I don't want to say that's rare because that sounds like so nasty, but
I know what you mean though. In this industry, it's
like people can seem one way online and not really in another. But I think the thing that separates you is you really are authentic and people see it through. You weren't like milking your wedding content, which if you are, like, no shade to that at all, but you were just working it into
Yes.
like as you were doing it. And that's really a part of all of your content. So I feel like when it comes to the outfits, people are going to love what you had because they do just love your style and gravitate toward you. So
I hope so, yeah.
probably internal pressure. It's like, well, I'm known for this. Like, it's my wedding day.
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
delivered times 10.
Thank you. Well, because I still even question my actual wedding dress because
It's
it was
gorgeous.
more on the simple side. But that's who I am. I tried on the ball gowns. I tried on everything. And they were so beautiful. But it just wasn't me.
Yeah.
And even like when I sent the photos in the family group chat in the beginning, everyone was like, this is your dress. This is
Yes.
you.
Even your everyday casual style is like a little more elegant and
It's more
chic.
simple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As much as I love a trend here and there, I didn't want my wedding look to be trendy.
Yeah.
I didn't want in 20 years from now to look back and be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Maybe I will with what I wore. But
no, it was beautiful.
simple.
Yes.
So, and it was easy to travel with because it wasn't a huge ball gown.
Well, that's something I want to ask you about too,
Yeah.
because having a destination wedding, this is always a question for people, but transporting the outfits, the items, like what was your method for that?
Okay, it's so funny. I feel like so many people ask me and I'm like a really unorganized person. I don't know if that comes through.
No, it doesn't. Like I would think you are like type A, everything has a place.
No, I am so type B, but it's so funny when people don't know me. They're like, oh, I would have never guessed that.
Yes.
But I just had the garment bag that the dress came in. I shoved all 4 dresses in there and we carried it on, hung it in the closet in the plane, and that was that.
And that was
it was heavy, but we
Did
just
you have
wanted to carry it on.
Like get extra space, purchase extra space?
No, they were, and I even called to reserve the closet. They were like, oh, you don't need to do this. Just when you get on board, ask. And there was even another wedding dress in there, but they both fit.
Amazing.
Yeah. Easy. Like I feel like some people really stress about it. It was easy.
That's really good to know. Did you have anything that needed to be brought otherwise, or was everything kind of like being set up there?
So once again, back to my type B personality. My sister, so I found this dress online and I was like, I already had an after party dress and I found something last minute and I'm like, wait, this is it.
Yeah.
And I was already in Europe. So I shipped it to my sister in Florida and she brought it. So I actually tried on my after party dress when I went to go change into my after party dress.
Oh my God, stop it.
So because she brought it for me. But most things I brought myself. But there was like a few things here and there that my sisters brought because they had more room in their suitcase because I had a week of travel before and after and
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What were you going to do if it didn't fit?
I brought the other one just in case, like as like a plan B, but I'm so happy it
looked amazing.
I wish I did try it on because I would have brought like the right like things to wear under.
Sure.
But we made it work.
You made it work.
We made it work.
All of your styles killed, obviously.
Thank you.
Really quickly, because I mean, you are known for your fashion. So I have to ask you, I know that you picked this like dream classic dress, but what was your wedding dress shopping experience like? Did you love it?
I did. So I went by myself for the first time and I highly recommend because
interesting.
I'm the type of person like I get pressured easily. And I also feel like if I'm taking a long time, I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like I don't know. I just wanted to just have zero pressure.
Yes.
And I really highly recommend that.
Okay.
So I went to one store and I tried on, and the first dress I absolutely loved. I thought that was going to be my dream dress. So I made an appointment for when my family was coming up for my shower.
Yes.
And we went the day before and I was like, guys, I already know the dress. It was the first one I tried on. I tried on maybe 7 altogether. Okay. And then we went back. They had a new dress that was very similar to the one that I loved in a different fabrication, which is the one that I ended up going with.
Oh my God.
So it was pretty easy and effortless, but I really liked going alone.
Can you shout out where you went?
So I went to a few places, but Kleinfeld is where I got the dress.
Nice.
It's like a few blocks from me. It was like so easy breezy.
The best.
Yeah.
The best.
That's also a thing I feel like people are really surprised. I didn't really know much about like wedding dress designers. And I just, not that I was like lazy, but I was like, I'm just going to go to the nearest spot, find what I like and say yes.
Because it doesn't matter who the designer is.
Yeah.
Like it matters what you look like in it. And people search online ad nauseum, but we talk about this a lot here. Just because you like something online or you like a designer online doesn't mean it's going to be made for you.
For sure.
Like
For
you're
sure.
tiny. So, you're not going to have something that's like huge, overpowering ball gown, even though it might be something that you're attracted to, you know?
No, it's so true. I went in thinking I wanted a ball gown
Yeah.
and I completely switched.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about going to a place like that because they have so many different designers in one shop.
Yes.
And then the other designers I went to were down in Soho. And that was hard because I felt like so many of these places had so much lace or floral, like all these appliques on it. And I was like, where's your simple section?
Right.
And there was like 5 gowns to choose from.
That's hard.
Whereas Kleinfeld had so many because they have so many designers there. So I felt like that was helpful for sure.
Oh, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to get into a portion of the episode, and I think we might have done it the last time you were here. I can't remember if we were doing it then, but it's called premarital counseling.
Okay.
And this is where we give advice to one of our listeners who writes in. We always keep everything anonymous. So if you ever want to write in, you can email us. But we have a short and sweet one, and we're going to give this gal some hope.
Perfect.
Are you ready, Stephanie?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's call her Nancy.
Okay.
Let's keep it anon. She's newly engaged, and wedding date is TBD.
Gotcha.
She says, "Hi, I've been engaged for about 4 months and we are just getting started on wedding planning. My fiance and I have decided to get married in Italy. We are so excited, but this does mean some cuts to our guest list. How do we tell the people who we love, who probably fully expected to be invited to our wedding, that they are not invited? I'm feeling a lot of guilt over this, so any guidance, assurance is appreciated." Did you deal with any of that, Stephanie?
No.
Okay.
But I also think if you can,
Yeah.
especially because she doesn't know her date yet,
Yeah.
it's almost like send the save the dates and the invites as early as you can.
Yeah.
Because once you start getting no's back, you could do a second round.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that really does help.
Mhm.
So we noticed like we sent our invites over a year and a half before.
Okay.
Because it was destination, we needed to give people time to plan and, figure things out.
Sure.
So we did. I noticed a lot of people who said no were kind that they wrote no right away.
Yeah.
So it allowed us to invite a few more people.
Okay. That's super
Yeah.
helpful.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. So if you can do that, try.
Yeah.
But I also think people understand it's a destination wedding. Not everyone
Yeah.
can be there. Like whether it's like people from work or you can kind of say we're keeping it friends and family.
Yes.
If it's family, that's a whole different story. I don't know how to navigate that. We invited everybody, but since it was destination, a lot of people didn't come, which was
Yes.
fine. So it's almost like you can even throw the invite out there and a lot of
Yeah.
them will say no.
You will lose some people. That's the thing. You're going to lose some people. So
sure.
you can probably invite a little bit more than you
Mhm.
want. Don't go crazy with
Yeah.
that. But I think this is true not only with a destination wedding, but with any wedding. Some people are going to be disappointed in one way or another. And you have to just weigh, like, is it more important to do what you want
Mhm.
and to disappoint some people? And it's not with ill intention. Like
Yeah,
you said, people are a lot more understanding than you would realize.
for sure.
And the people who aren't understanding, like,
Mm.
they probably are not going to be understanding about a lot of things. Like,
maybe they shouldn't be there then, you know?
correct. Yeah. They're probably going to be the harder to please people in general.
For sure.
Like, I don't care if it was my best friend who was like, hey, we got to make cuts and like your cut. I'd be like, okay, like, how can I help?
Yeah, for sure.
People do want to be there with you, and they are more understanding than you would imagine. It's a hard conversation to have. I think it's personally better to just say like, hey, we love you and we're planning this small thing. We want to, like, if you're available at another date when we're home, like, we want to celebrate with
For
you.
sure.
But otherwise, we'll see you when
Catch
we
up.
see you.
Yeah. As long as you explain it's an intimate thing,
Yes.
people will understand. And I also like what you say that like you have to weigh the pros and cons, and you have to do that with almost everything. Like, don't do things for your wedding just because it's the norm or like you have pressure from your family or your in-laws or whoever. This is your day.
Yeah.
So it's like, do what you want.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's true. It's true. And there are people who, like, disappointing people is going to trump everything. And if you know that's you, then you have to make concessions and change things.
For
but
sure.
if you are focused, like, no, this is my wedding day and I want to have it the way I want, then stick to that and people will understand. Like,
for sure.
just make a choice and stick to it. It's so much easier said than done.
I know. But a lot of people will say no. We invited around 130 and only like 78 came.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. And we were kind of excited to get some of the no's. We're like, okay, amazing.
I know. At a certain point, you start like praying for regrets.
I
It
know.
sounds horrible to say because it's not that you don't want all these people there.
No.
That's something to drive home too. It's not that you don't want these people there. It's just that you simply cannot have
For sure.
all of these people.
Yeah. It would have been a whole different vibe to the wedding.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and I'm sure there were even people that you would have loved to be there.
For sure.
And like wish they hadn't regretted, but it's also like for the greater good.
I know.
It worked out.
Yeah, exactly. There's like mixed emotions there, you know?
Absolutely. Well, we wish you luck and love and send us an update. And yeah, we're thinking of you. That's hard. That's a really hard one.
That is hard.
All right, Stephanie, we are going to end the episode the way we always end it with our after party.
Okay.
Just some fun wedding questions. They don't have to be necessarily pertaining to your own wedding.
Gotcha.
But are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start with number 1, which is what is your honeymoon hotspot?
So we did Lake Como, which we only did because our wedding was in Europe. We would have done South Africa, which we're actually going to this December.
How fabulous.
Yes.
Everyone is doing South Africa right now.
We're so excited. This has been a dream trip of ours for so long, and we were going to do it straight from our wedding. And we were like, why would we fly from Europe there?
Yeah.
It almost needs its own time to
For
go.
sure.
So I would say Europe or South Africa.
So we get a lot of Lake Como. So I want to focus for 1 second a little bit on
Yeah.
South Africa. Can you give us any insight onto your trip? Because I feel like
Sure.
it's something on the forefront that a lot of people are going to want. Like
I know, yeah.
if you can share either where you're staying or like something that you're doing.
Yeah.
Or
I could share like the itinerary quickly.
okay,
So,
yeah.
because we're doing, I want to say 18 days because you need some time there.
Yes.
So we're flying into Cape Town. We're doing 5 or 6 nights in Cape Town. Then we're going to the winelands there, right? The wine country.
Okay, yeah.
And then we're doing safari, and then we're doing Seychelles, and then Dubai, and then flying home.
Oh my God. What's that flight like to Dubai?
We've done it before.
Okay.
It's not fun.
Okay.
14 hours.
Okay. Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's not close,
Yeah,
but-
it's not short.
But worth it.
Worth it,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
We're
Thank-
excited.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of
That's like
course.
really, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I really like
It's
a
like
second
so
honeymoon.
many different vibes to each one. So it'll be a cool trip.
And you're going in the spring?
December.
Oh, December. What's
yeah,
soon?
Yeah, so
Oh,
soon.
I
So
am
that's like
gonna
our
be-
honeymoon, I guess. But we kind of had one, so yeah.
I'm just going to be like refreshing your Instagram the entire time. Okay, Stephanie, what is one song that's going to get you on the dance floor at a wedding?
I would say New York by Frank Sinatra.
Classic.
We made sure to play that because like our wedding was mainly New York people.
Yes.
Or even the Alicia Keys Empire State of Mind. Anything like New York related, I feel like it gets the people up and
For
like crowd
sure.
and yeah,
Oh my God, New Yorkers, they love
They
it. A
love
New York
it.
song. Yes.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
for sure.
Okay, what is one hors d'oeuvre that you will never pass up at a wedding?
I'm like such like a raw fish type of person. So like a shrimp cocktail
Uh-huh.
or like an oyster,
Uh-huh. Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah. So good. Okay, what is your signature cocktail or mocktail?
Dirty martini. I do a Tito's dirty martini, 3 olives.
Ooh.
Yeah, extra dirty.
So
Yeah.
it's so you. It's so
It's
classy.
well, that's
It's
what
like-
I went into my cocktail asking, and they were like, "That's not happening." And I'm like, "What?"
It must.
Yeah, I was like, "I need one right now."
Oh my God. Okay. I love it. If you could invite any living dream guest to your wedding, who would it be?
Okay. Wait, I read that as non-living, so now I
well,
have to change
give us a
my-
non-living.
It's kind of sentimental, but if it's a non-living, I would have loved to have had my Mima there. Yeah, she was like the life of the party and like such a fun person, and like we were all so close to her. So I
That's
would have.
really
Yeah, can I
sweet.
do a non-living? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not. You think I'm gonna be strict about the rules? Absolutely not. We make our own rules here.
Yeah. No, I would have loved to have had her.
That's
so,
really special.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
did something to honor her with your
Yes.
pajamas, didn't you?
So my Mima was always freezing cold, no matter.
Oh.
Like she lived in Florida, she was just always freezing cold. So whenever she was in the house, she'd be in pajamas and like a robe.
Oh.
And this robe to me, I just remember it so much, like growing up. So when
Yeah.
she passed, I took the robe. I'm like so shocked I was even able to get it out of like my mom or her sisters,
Yes.
whatever. So I got it. And it's like white and navy. So I had my bridesmaids in navy, and then I was in plain white, and then we had hers like hanging on the rack with all of ours.
That's so
I didn't want
special.
to wear hers because I almost wanted it like she's here with us.
Yes.
Yeah, if that makes any sense.
That's a really nice nod. I like doing something that like doesn't feel so heavy, but it still incorporates a loved one. That's really beautiful.
Sure. Yeah, and it was such like a special piece. So I'm happy I brought it.
That's really special.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last question I have for you today, Stephanie, is what is one practical piece of advice that you could give to any bride planning her wedding?
So obviously enjoy the whole process because it flies by, but also don't go over your budget.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to look back and kind of regret it if you do. You don't want to stress yourself out financially over a wedding. There's so many alternatives you can do to make your wedding day so special.
Totally.
So yeah.
And you're not going to have to look back because you're going to look at your credit card bill every month and you're going to be reminded of how much you went over your budget.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, no one cares about your flowers. No one cares about so many of these small details that really do add up. People care about the energy, the music. Music and drinks are definitely important though.
Definitely.
But that's what people care about, like the energy in the room and things like that.
Totally.
For sure.
Stephanie, you are an angel. This was so much fun.
So are you.
Where can everyone find you?
Instagram, TikTok at Stephanie Leigh NYC.
You are perfect. Congratulations again on your wedding, and thank you for coming
back. Oh my God, this was so fun. I would do this every day if I could.
Oh my God, you are welcome anytime you want. We can always
chit
chat about wedding things.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Thanks for tuning into the Pre Nup. This episode is brought to you by Lovebird, a better way for engaged couples to communicate with their wedding guests. Make an exquisite first impression and manage every touch point in one place. Learn more at lovebird.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform or on the Love Stories TV YouTube channel. Follow at _pre_nup and at Love Stories TV on Instagram for more. Have feedback or suggestions for the next episode? Feel free to reach out to us at podcasts@lovestoriestv.com.